What's up? I hope everybody's doing all right. And yeah, cool. Uh, it's cold outside. It's really cold outside. I took Vela out for a moment just a little while ago, and man, I had to put a jacket on. I had to put a hoodie on, so I'm wearing a hoodie. 50. It's in the 50s. It's like 55 degrees outside right now. So April, end of April, early May. I can't remember the last time it's been this cold in April. In God, it's had it. I mean, it seems like forever. It seems like a decade ago, which is strange and cool all at once. Sorry for my absence. The last couple of days have been devoted to my little babies. I went a 3-week period without having them around, which just destroys, tears my soul. Hey, what's up, Ja? Thank you. Which just eats at my soul. So I've taken the last couple of days and we've done some really cool things. Like we had a reading little kind of book reading thing where we were reading the 4 agreements, and my daughter is just taking on the first agreement like it's nobody's business, right? The impeccable word, which I'm so, I'm so happy about, right? Because it's a really powerful principle. For any of you who haven't read Don Miguel Ruiz's book, The 4 Agreements, do yourself a favor and go pick up that book. It's life altering. There's some really deep principles that are contained within that book, so it's a good read. So we did that. We watched The Life of Pi and had a discussion about that, which was really cool. My daughter's 9 and Nico's 6, so you can imagine the type of questions that came up, right, as we're watching that. As we're watching that. So it was really good. That's another powerful testament to the beauty of life and of humanity and of sentient life altogether. So that was really cool. So I haven't put together a video in a while, and yeah, that was the reason why. But I'm back, and I wanted to do something tonight and talk to you guys for just a moment tonight about something that's been crossing my mind recently. So most of my talks and most of the information that I put out is really related to personal development, personal growth, and I'm really I'm adamant in the sense that I think that internal work that we do makes a difference in our lives, right? But tonight I wanted to kind of illustrate a little bit of a different picture for everyone, in kind of encompassing more than just the work that we do on a mental level, right? I wanted to talk a little bit about and pose the question, what are you, right? Or what are we? And what's happening, what is it that is happening in this thing that we're all experiencing? And as I thought about that question, there's more to it than just the form of the definition of you, right? There's more to it than just Joshua and this person, right? There's that, but there's also the idea of kind of my mental experience and what I experience from a thought perspective. There's this aspect of my being that's emotional, and how I feel emotional, different feelings related to this life and this experience that I'm having. And then for some, there's this idea of kind of this spiritual existence and this spiritual component or layer of how I define myself. And the reason why I wanted to talk about that, and apologize, Bella's in her crate, but the reason why I wanted to talk about that is because most of the time people have a tendency to focus on maybe one or two of the components. But I think that as we start to expand and we start to walk down this path of self-realization, we take into consideration kind of the holistic view of all of these different aspects of who we are and how they contribute to the experience of life, and whether or not we're living a joyful life or something where we're living a monotonous life that doesn't necessarily live up to the expectations that we have of who we are and what we aspire to be. So, it's kind of interesting because, one of the things that I've been doing, recently is kind of embarking on this idea of this path of coaching and this path of, service, right? How to give back. And it really is about identifying and balancing, all of that holistic view of, what it is that compromises you. Because if one area is lacking, then that will be something that causes a reflection in the other areas of your life. You've got to kind of take an approach of, balancing all those things out. If you don't have physical health, then nothing else really matters, right? If you're emotionally unhealthy, then, how does that taint the experience that you're having in other aspects and other areas of your life, right? If you're mentally unhealthy, and if you're kind of spiritually disconnected, which is where ultimately, this really gets back to, is like if you're, spiritually somewhat disconnected, you can live a great life and not, ever find that spiritual connection, but it does enrich your life in a way where you kind of touch the ethereal, right? You have just a stronger, I guess, connection to kind of the greater source, or, the greater power that is. And within that, there is this unbelievable magic, right? There's this unbelievable power that exists within each of us that most of us let slip through our fingers because we're so consumed by the things that are happening, outside of us most of the time, or we get lost on the inside, right, in our minds and our emotions and the addictions that we have, and the conditioning that we have, or the beliefs that we have. So I kind of wanted to talk about that and illustrate, the differences. And I'm sure, most of us are aware, and in some form or fashion, we've had, our own experiences in one way or another. But I guess I would challenge people is to take a look at all of them, right? Take a look at every individual layer that makes up, or, comprises who you are and what you are, and start to ask yourself the question, ask yourself the question, what is it that I truly am? I had this, strange experience the other day that was related to mortality, and, how this is kind of, we're just travelers passing through for a short period of time. And in this experience, there was this distinction between kind of what it is that Joshua is here while he's here, and then for a brief moment, I felt myself kind of separating and kind of becoming conscientious of kind of that eternal aspect of myself, right? That spiritual aspect, and it was so clear and so vivid that it brought like this overwhelming sense of peace to me, in not, being concerned or, deeply troubled by the idea of, the temporal nature of life. And in that there was like this beautiful appreciation for, the fragility and sacredness of life. And, so I, like, all these thoughts ran through my head about, my kids, and, about, the people that I love and the people that I care about, and, like, just gratitude, just this overwhelming gratitude for kind of how much I've grown and how much, I've been blessed, right, in this life. It's been amazing. It's been amazing. So, yeah, so I wanted to kind of, speak to that and, put the pointer out there as far as, hey, there's so much more going on than we're aware of. And then I guess one final point that I wanted to make is, related to the idea of our experience and what it is that we make of it. Because some of the conversations that I've had recently are, with other people, are kind of driven to this idea of how do I put it? The lack of kind of control that people experience. And, when we look at our lives from that perspective, there's this unfortunate truth in that we are at the mercy of the elements. We're at the mercy of the things that happen to us, the things that people do to us. And I don't necessarily align to that. I don't prescribe to that view of life, right? For me, I think that the world it's really a mirror. It's a reflection of what it is that you are. It's a reflection of the frequency that you hold. It's a reflection of the decisions that you make, of the beliefs that you have, of of how you express yourself in that way, right? What's the expression of you, and depending on what that truth is for you internally, that's where you find yourself. That's what you experience. That's the relationships you find yourself in. And though those experiences, right, are ours to choose, right? It's our decision, right, to be one way or the other, right? To act with integrity or use the impeccable word or otherwise. It's our decision as to, whether or not we'll have another drink, or, whether or not we'll go to that AA meeting, or whatever it is, go to the therapy meeting, or be an expression of, kindness or redemption, or whatever, right? But the ultimate message there was that, it's our choice, and in thinking about that, I remember, wow, it's been years, but we used to have this accountant. His name was Burton Gruber. And Burton Gruber was a wonderful, wonderful man. He was amazing in the sense that every time that I saw Burton, he always had a twinkle in his eye. And he always had this smirk on his face, like there was, a secret that was being shared between you two that only you two knew about. And it was just his presence. It was just the way that he carried himself. It was just, who he was. And I thought about that thought, and I asked myself, like, what is the harm in being that way? Like not necessarily what is the harm, but why is it that we can't choose to be that way? Why is it that we can't choose on a regular basis to be an expression of goodness, to be an expression of happiness, to be an expression of joy, right? And then in doing so, like, live out and create that thing that we want for others. And as we create it for others, we in turn create it for ourselves, right? So, waking up with this idea that I am going to, put a smile on someone's face, or I am going to show other people, how much they truly mean to me. And all of those kind of beautiful aspirations of being just this, an amazing, loving, compassionate, empathetic human being. And so that's the other challenge, right? Is that I would say to you all, go be an expression of that. Like, go make someone else feel good. Go, do something kind for someone else. And it doesn't have to be, it doesn't have to be monetarily based. I mean, even if just extending a kind word, right? Letting someone else know that, you care about them, that, they're on your mind, saying a prayer for someone without letting them know that you said it. Those types of kind of experiences and thoughts. I would challenge you to do those things. So, yeah, that was kind of the message for today. It was, I wanted to, clarify the different kind of layers of what compromises life for us and make people more aware of them, right? And then, talk a little bit about, really the power of kind of understanding mortality and the realization that it brings to the table. And then, finally, just challenging everyone to be an expression of something good, to be an expression of love, of kindness, of joy, of happiness, of compassion, of, all of those wonderful things that make life beautiful, that make life worth living. All right. I love you guys as always. Thank you so much for listening. Sorry it went on for so long. Hit me up. And yeah, until next time. All right. You guys take care.